History of Egypt, Part 2 of 3. Egypt found itself at a crossroads once more, the second intermediate period, a time of turmoil and tribulation that would test the very foundations of civilization. No longer did the mighty pharaohs rule with an iron fist, for the land had been plunged into darkness by the hands of foreign invaders. The Hyksos, who swept down from the Levant like a storm unleashed upon the Nile Delta. With their chariots and their weapons of war, they carved out a kingdom of their own, casting a shadow over the once great land of Egypt. For years the people of Egypt suffered under the yoke of foreign rule, their cries echoing across the deserts and the plains. The temples lay desolate, their altars stained with the blood of those who dared to defy their new masters. And yet, even in the darkest of times, the flame of hope refused to be extinguished, burning bright in the hearts of those who still dared to dream of a brighter tomorrow. But amidst the chaos and despair, a spark of rebellion flickered to life, a lone voice crying out in the wilderness, calling upon the people to rise up and reclaim their birthright. And that voice belonged to Ahmose I, a warrior prince whose bravery knew no bounds. With a courage born of desperation and a determination forged in the fires of adversity, he rallied his people to his cause, leading them into battle against the forces of tyranny and oppression. And so it was that the tide began to turn, as the armies of Egypt clashed with the might of the Hyksos invaders upon the field of battle. With each blow struck and each victory won, the spirit of Egypt soared ever higher, like a phoenix rising from the ashes of defeat. And in the end it was Ahmose I who emerged victorious, casting out the foreign oppressors and restoring the glory of Egypt once more. The new kingdom, a time of unparalleled splendour and conquest that would shape the destiny of nations for centuries to come. With the triumph of Ahmose I over the Hyksos invaders, the shackles of oppression were shattered, and Egypt emerged from the darkness like a phoenix reborn. Under the rule of mighty pharaohs like Thutmose III and Ramses II, the borders of Egypt stretched ever outward, carving out an empire that spanned the length and breadth of the known world. From the sun-drenched plains of Nubia to the fertile valleys of the Levant, the armies of Egypt marched, their banners fluttering in the desert breeze like the wings of mighty falcons. With each conquest, the glory of Egypt grew, as monuments rose from the earth like mountains, testaments to the power and majesty of the pharaohs who ruled over the land. But it was not just through the might of arms that the new kingdom left its mark upon the world. It was through the power of culture and civilization itself. In the heart of Thebes, the great city of the gods, the temples of Karnak and Luxor rose like titans from the sands, their halls adorned with the treasures of 1,000 kingdoms. And at the centre of it all stood Amun, the king of the gods, whose cult spread like wildfire across the land, uniting the people of Egypt in a common bond of faith and devotion. From the humblest peasant to the mightiest pharaoh, all bowed before the might of Amun, seeking his favour and protection in an uncertain world. But even as the glory of the new kingdom reached its zenith, the seeds of decline were already being sown. With the passing of Ramses II, the once mighty empire began to crumble from within, as political fragmentation tore at the fabric of society, and foreign invaders descended upon the land like wolves upon the fold. In the chaos that followed, regional rulers rose to power, their authority centred in cities like Thebes and Tanis, where they ruled as pharaohs in all but name. Yet, even in the darkest of times, the spirit of Egypt endured, a flame of hope that refused to be extinguished, burning bright in the hearts of those who still dared to dream of a better tomorrow. The late period and the Hellenistic period, epochs of upheaval and transformation that would shape the destiny of Egypt for millennia to come. With the passing of the new kingdom, Egypt found itself once more at the mercy of foreign invaders, Assyrians, Persians, and Greeks, each seeking to claim the riches of the Nile Delta for their own. Like waves crashing against the shore, they swept across the land, leaving devastation in their wake and sowing the seeds of chaos and despair. Yet, amidst the turmoil, a new dynasty arose, the Ptolemies, descendants of the Macedonian general Ptolemy the Soter, who seized control of Egypt and forged a kingdom that would endure for centuries. Under their rule, Greek influence flowed like a river through the heart of Egyptian culture, blending with native traditions to create a tapestry of diversity and richness unlike anything the world had ever seen. In the city of Alexandria, the jewel of the Mediterranean, the flame of knowledge burned bright, illuminating the darkness of ignorance and superstition. Scholars from every corner of the earth flocked to its shores, drawn by the promise of wisdom and enlightenment that lay within its hallowed halls. And yet, even as Egypt embraced the wonders of Hellenistic culture, the shadow of Rome loomed ever larger on the horizon. With the ascension of Cleopatra VII to the throne, the last pharaoh of ancient Egypt, the fate of the kingdom hung in the balance like a delicate thread. With her beauty and her wit, Cleopatra sought to hold back the tide of Roman conquest, weaving a web of intrigue and diplomacy in a desperate bid to save her beloved homeland from the ravages of war. But in the end, even her cunning was not enough to stem the tide, and Egypt was annexed by the Roman Empire, bringing an end to the age of pharaohs and ushering in a new era of domination and subjugation. And here ends part 2 of 3 on the entire history of Egypt. Stay tuned for the next upload for part 3.